India lose to New Zealand 3-4 in the final match of the group stages of the 2022 Women's Hockey World Cup. The Indian team created a lot of chances, but they lacked precision in the attacking regions. Hello and welcome to News 9 Special Show. I am Hardik Agrawal and today I am being joined by Sandeep Mishra and Amit Kamath. Hi Sandeep. Hi Amit.
Hi.
Sandeep, India took 11 shots on target and 15 penalty corners. But still they could only score thrice. What was missing?
I think everything. I mean, it was highly frustrating to watch. But having said that, you need to feel for the team, for the players. I mean, you could see it on their faces. The coach, right from the third quarter, you knew that whatever she wanted was really not happening on the field, and it was evident on the face. You could see the tears in the players' eyes when they came off. They knew that this was an opportunity, not lost, but they kind of threw it away. This was a match, honestly, if you just go by the simple player-to-player strength, but the simple team-to-team play, India should have clinched it and should have clinched it easily.
Right.
Or at least by the end of it, they should have gone off for a draw. But nothing of that was required. The frustrating part was that nothing was working in tandem. If you actually look at the game and if you look at individually each of these players, it was probably one of the most individualistic games that I have seen in this particular World Cup from India. So when you look at that, you saw Sharmila alone, you saw Neha alone, you saw players who are trying to do something alone. You know, that precision that comes from the gap, that goes to the midfield, that goes to the forward, that stretches out, that creates those gaps, that creates a momentum, a rhythm, that creates a lot of fluid play between players. That was not there. And I think that was one part that was very, very completely exploited by New Zealand. They understood within the first quarter where we were going wrong. We couldn't understand how to control them and how to take away that control that they had over the game. That became crucial not only in the first and second, but actually in the fourth quarter, where our weaknesses were just too much. And New Zealand was strong enough to resist and somehow get over the line. That was what, in my opinion, was what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, because India created a lot of chances, but they were not clinical in the final third. On the other hand, New Zealand did create few chances, but they were much more efficient than India.
True.
Right, Amit? And also talking about PCs, Amit, 15 PCs and just one conversion, Amit. What does that say about Team India on PCs?
I think at some point during the fourth quarter, the Indian team decided that, things of our PCs are not going right. So they kind of just forgot about everything and decided to convert the whole quarter into like a training routine for penalty corners, because I think they tried pretty much every trick in the book. At some point, even the stopper turned around and tried to take a shot at the goal to catch the New Zealand team off guard. So it literally turned into a training routine for penalty corner drills. Having said that, we noticed a lot of issues with them when it came to penalty corners. I think what was happening is when Salima Tete was injecting the ball, there were times when the ball was slow. The injection was slow to the stopper, and at times the ball was above the ground, so it was wobbling, which made it very difficult to control. We also saw that once the stopper could not stop the ball went outside and then had to be retrieved and things like that. So that says that even though, and it says that we still have to do a lot of work into our penalty corner routines. In the previous games, we saw that in the first game, we had a lot of penalty corners in the first half of the match against England. And after that, we did not have any penalty corners. In the China game also, we had very limited penalty corners India earned. So this was, by that contrast, a very good sign, because the Indian team at least looked to earn more penalty corners. But when you earn that many penalty corners, you really need to do something about them.
Yeah, the conversion was missing, right?
Yeah.
And also, India made 28 circle penetrations, but throughout the match, they lost the possession on numerous occasions. So, Sandeep and Amit, let's have a look at the interception maps of all the 4 quarters. Can we have the interception map of the first quarter, please? Sandeep, here's the interception map from the first quarter. Both teams were losing ball on attacking transitions, and the goals came via penalty corners. So, your analysis of first quarter's interception map, Sandeep.
I think once you kind of take the lead, you really need to hold the game there. So the moment the ball is with you, I think it's the first thing that's normally taught is to try and keep the ball with you in a sense that it doesn't fall into the midfield or to any other zone that can go to New Zealand. In a game, of course, somebody is going to take that ball away. Somebody is going to have a transition that from your side, somebody is going to take the attack. But I think we didn't hold the ball well enough. Now, that can be said about the first, it can be said about the second and third and the fourth. What I mean to say is that the inconsistency that we saw in the first quarter completely went on till the fourth quarter. At some point of time, I think the coaching staff probably realized it, but what was perplexing was that nothing was being done from the players' side, which is where the frustration comes in, which is where I'm unable to understand in terms of tactics how to play this, after a point. How does the coach do it here?
How to counter this situation?
Yeah, I mean, and it was a deep-rooted situation. It's not something that was just there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or for one quarter. It just went on and on and on. So
let's move to the second quarter's interception map. This is the interception map of the second quarter. And also, India were not able to fulfill their potential on PCs, and they conceded a goal because of New Zealand's high press. Udita committed a mistake at the back. Amit, your take on Udita's mistake? She has been so good throughout the tournament so far, but she committed a blunder in the second quarter yesterday. So, your take on that?
That mistake from Udita was symbolic of what the Indian team has been, what has been wrong for the Indian team in this match. Just before she made that mistake, Udita did a brilliant interception to get the ball away from the New Zealand players. And just when she had done that, she gives the ball away. Hope Ralph puts a stick across, snatches the ball off her, and then Tessa just has to push the ball in. So that moment was very, very emblematic of what the Indian team have been doing wrong. They will do something brilliant. This Indian team is capable of having spectacular bursts of magic, and right after that they will concede a basic school girl error. So that is what that interception showed. She got the ball away, but then she wasn't able to pass the ball out or even clear her lines, which eventually led New Zealand to snatch the ball and one pass down the line score.
Right, Amit. And Sandeep, your take on Udita's mistake? New Zealand was pressing high. What could have been done differently to counter that?
The high press, you can't do much unless with your own defense. I mean, at some point of time, a player is going to make a mistake, and she has been probably brilliant throughout these matches.
Right.
At some point you make a mistake, that error leads to a particular infringement. It leads to a double error that makes way for a goal, a penalty corner, a field attempt, or something. The New Zealand things were the counter attacks were not coming fast and in every minute. They were building it up. And that was what was really remarkable about them. They were holding the ball well. And if you see the third quarter and the end of the second quarter, you would see them rotating the ball between 6 players. And again, the frustration was that the Indian midfield was not coming up. You could see one individual, Sharmila, going around trying to, take the ball away. Which wasn't taking the ball away, which was covering space as an off the ball, this thing. But with 6 people rotating, or 6 women players rotating the ball out there, if we are going to be in our area and keep quiet till they come up, it just means that they are looking for an opportunity. And when they find an opportunity, they will move in. We didn't do what they did. And we made them do something which was pretty average, look brilliant. That was the worst part.
Right. So, we also have the interception map of the third quarter, Sandeep. And in the third quarter, India started camping deep. As we can see, New Zealand were forced to make 6 interceptions in the final 25, and they were staying compact. The midfielders were falling back and supporting the defense. So, was this the reason why India was unable to break the defense of New Zealand?
No, I think in the fourth quarter and the third quarter, there were opportunities that we saw that they were breaking it, and they were breaking it pretty easily. Now, the bigger question out there that leads to another, this thing is very simple, that if you had 3 up front, what was the harm in putting 5 up front? You knew New Zealand is not going to do an attack unless they find a through ball, unless they find space or unless they find a gap. The reason, they are afraid of the skill of Lalrem Swami, they are afraid of the skill of Sharmila up front, they are afraid of Kataria up front, because a couple of dodges and you'll find it. You look at that 1-1 that happened with Sharmila. Now, purely inexperience, you can't blame her completely, because somebody else would have probably flicked the ball up.
Right.
You see an on-rushing goalkeeper, you don't want to go in and you don't want to put the ball straight onto the pads or the body. You try and flick. When I say you try, means you try and flick. You don't do that. Now, that is a very routine thing that's taught.
Right.
Now, in the heat of the moment, you got so much pressure, you didn't do that. But whatever they played in the fourth and the third is exactly what they should have played in the first and the second.
Right.
Because, listen, if you have an attack, why are you making it look weak with 2 or 3 players?
Why are you sitting back?
Yeah, unless you have such a defined midfield that can take charge of a game, put the aerial balls up. Like for example, when we speak about the men's game, the only reason why Mandeep is up front all the time is looking for the aerial ball. That's the only reason, and he's doing off the ball. But here you could see players not doing off the ball also, which means that the defense was relaxed. But yes, New Zealand in the last, they thought they would get over the line, and that's the reason why they kind of absorbed as much as they could have. That's the time when we should have scored thrice at least of those penalty corners.
Right. India missed few chances at the end of the match. They got back-to-back PCs, but they couldn't score. They were very poor at the PCs, just 1 conversion from 15. So now they end the group stages in the 3rd spot in the Pool B, and let's have a look at the tables. In the Pool A, Netherlands are at the top and they have qualified for the quarterfinals. Germany and Chile will be playing in the playoffs. Let's have a look at the Pool B. New Zealand lead the Pool B. They are into the quarterfinals. England and India will be playing the playoffs. In the Pool C, we have Argentina, who have won all their 3 matches and they have qualified for the quarterfinals. Spain at the 2nd spot, who India will be playing, Sandeep.
Yeah.
So, how could it be like for India to be up against Spain in the playoffs?
They just got to win. There's nothing else. I mean, you don't have anything left. You have to win this game. You've got to understand all the 3 matches that you have played. Now you probably have to play something which is completely diametrical opposite of what you played in these 3. Which means that you might see Shopman telling the players that just go all out. Just go all out and get those goals. I don't care what happens. I think that's what you want to see against Spain.
How will Shopman take things forward from here, Sandeep?
At some point of time, she'll probably be worried what's going to happen after the World Cup in case we don't go beyond the crossovers. We always thought that we're going to top the pool, honestly, and I still believe that we would have and we should have topped the pool. Even yesterday, we should have won that game. There was nothing that we shouldn't have won that game. But these things happen, they always happen, and sometimes a good team also gets down. They got to beat Spain, and I think Shopman's now, players like her, coaches like her who've been Olympic, World Cup medalists and at gold at that, they are the ones who actually understand one game at a time. We beat Spain, we meet Australia. That's the toughest part. Is that you're going to meet Australia, which looks very strong. I mean, Netherlands, Australia, Argentina to me are the top 3 right now.
Strongest teams.
Stronger teams. So you're going to meet one of them. We beat them in the Olympics, but Olympics was a different ball game. The World Championships was a different ball game, and Australia will be really looking forward to meeting us. Let me tell you that. But Shopman, yeah, at the back of the mind, the pressure is there. What happens if I don't get through to the quarterfinals? What happens if I lose to Spain? But as I said, she's going to give her best in terms of the players, and I think the players, at some point of that weight is off.
Right.
That weight is completely off. That we're not in the quarterfinals, so now we have to make something out of this. I expect them to play all out against Spain. That's what I believe now.
Let's hope for the best, Sandeep. Thank you, gentlemen. You gave us some incredible insights. That's it from this episode. We'll be back with more insights from the world of hockey. Until then, keep watching News 9. Also, if you like this piece of information, then don't forget to press the like button. To get regular updates from News 9 Sports, press the bell button. This is Hardik Agrawal signing off.